Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, just wanted to chime in to everyone. Yeah. Quick introduction. Nolan Starnes. That's who I am. And I am your host for Fort Nash Radio. Radio is in talk radio. All right. Uh, I love music. Too much litigation right now with publishing and things of that nature. So we may have music uh, at some point or another. But right now, it's just talk radio. I love talk radio. I listen to it throughout the day while I'm working and everything. And so, yeah, it's just a great way to go. Uh, Music as the entertainment piece, you know, and it can kind of relate to certain topics and things of that nature. But real quick, man, uh, we just created this page, need to publish it, so I decided to uh, just do a video, post the introduction video. Uh, I don't have any, I don't have any content today, you know, uh, but we have plenty of content lined up for you. But today, it's Sunday, just sitting on my porch. I'm gonna give y'all my view real quick, man. You know, just sitting on my porch. You feel me? In the backwoods. You know what I'm saying? In the backwoods, man. So this is a day of rest. It's a day of rest for me. And so, yeah, just real quick, I just want to let you know about uh, this exciting new podcast. I'm excited. Fort Nash, Fort Nash Radio is based out of Middle Tennessee, and so we will be covering a lot of local news throughout Middle Tennessee, Nashville and specifically, but a lot of other surrounding counties, smaller counties as well. And so, but we're not limited to that. You know what I'm saying? Uh, we will cover world news if we deem it necessary and important enough. You know what I'm saying? But I real quick, I tell you, man, you know, so many changes, rapid changes going on in Middle Tennessee, man. We have yet to have that outlet, you know, uh, whether it's local news or whether it's podcast or whether it's radio. Everything is pretty much, man, either right or the left, politic wise. It's either right or left. It's either red or blue. It's either liberal or conservative, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's available around here. That's what's available, and on talk radio, uh, and a lot of podcasts that's geared towards politics, man. But I represent the people that's in the middle, that's in between. You know, not red or blue, not right or left. You know, not liberal or conservative. Just a human being, man. That's who I represent. Just the human beings um, that find themselves often in the middle of this right and left. Red and blue, uh, conservative and liberal opinions. Tug of warring over laws and legislation in this country and in several countless states on this continent, man. You know, and so yeah, you know, we need that representation. There's too many changes going on, rapid changes. They've been going on for the past several years, and so yeah, there's too many people not being represented by who's out here on the political platforms, also on the radio, radio personalities. Like I say, uh, people like myself aren't really being represented. Now, with that being said, uh, when I introduced myself, uh, I'm sure you noticed my name, Nolan Starnes, uh, the mayor. Okay, and you know, giving myself the title of the mayor, and I didn't really give it to myself. I had a couple of homeboys gave it to me, and I was given this title because I actually did run for mayor of Nashville, Tennessee, and so I ran in the 2019 campaign. You know, uh, 2019 runoffs, and back then, so I ran against Nashville's current mayor, who's actually on his way out, uh, John Cooper. You know, shouts out to you, John. Um, it must have been a pretty big job, to be mayor of Nashville for one term, and then, decide to give it up and let somebody else have it, man. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, actually, in 2019 there were about 10 different candidates, and out of 10 candidates, I got the fifth highest votes in that runoff, in that election, and everything. And that was my first time running for any kind of office, ever, any kind of political office. And with that being said, not only was that my first time running for a political office, I mean, I grew up in the streets of Nashville. You know what I'm saying? And it's documented. You know, I have stripes. You know, and those of you who are from the streets, we know how we get our stripes, right? Just through a lot of struggle and a lot of challenges coming out of the neighborhoods and communities we come from. You know what I'm saying? Which we call the hood. And so anyway, I'm very proud of that. However, I'm not going to go into detail about that campaign and everything. I do plan on publishing a small documentary sometime shortly. So all you guys will have access to that at some point soon. And so that'll kind of go into detail about a small piece of my story and of my background. Okay, but anyway, after the election on uh, in 2019, the Nashville mayoral election, uh, I was so exhausted. I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. I was tired. I was exhausted, man. I was exhausted, and I was exhausted because it was a lot of work, and Lord knows, I would have never ran for mayor of Nashville if I didn't feel like that's what God wanted me to do. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason. And so, with that being said, it was only by the grace of God that uh, that I had the energy to even run because I didn't have a campaign team. I didn't have a campaign team when I ran. Uh, so I just kind of stepped out on faith. You know what I'm saying? Just stepped out on what God uh, was telling me to do. You know what I'm saying? And my reasons for running as well. Like I say, you guys get those few details in a small documentary that I'm working on. But I'll just say everything, from investing in the campaign. I spent my own money. Uh, and like I say, this is just because God directed me uh, to go here. Okay, so if God's telling you to do something, be willing to give your whole self to it. Whether it's whatever monies you have, whether it's just your time and attention and strength to it. And that's just what I did, man. And so I actually had a direction that I was uh, trying to take the city. You know, there was an actual message to that campaign, and so I'm saying that to say it was worth me giving my all to it. Um, I did not have a campaign team, like I said. Uh, so any sign that I had to put out, which were only the signs that I could afford. You know, how many signs I could afford, or how many banners, or how many flyers I could afford. I had to go out and post those myself. You know what I'm saying? Before I could run for mayor, I had to get X amount of signatures from the community. And so I went out and did that, canvassing, canvassing to get uh, some signatures, canvassing to introduce myself, to Nashville citizens at their residence, uh, all of those things I had to do myself. You know what I'm saying? And when I look back at it, it's just amazing because, I don't know how I got through it myself. Like I say, it was only the strength of God that was carrying me. But long story short, um, you know, whatever. There was only four candidates back then that was getting a lot of coverage, magazine coverage, news coverage, things of that nature. And it's about money. You know what I'm saying? Those four had the most amount of money uh, to spend on their campaign, and it's all about money, pretty much. Pretty much, man. Because I mean, there's just no way that you can have good, genuine people running for political office, man. And because they don't have as much money, you know, as some of the next candidates, they just don't get heard by a lot of the masses. You know what I'm saying? And those are the genuine ones. Those are the genuine ones that's really trying to look out for the people. You know what I mean? And so anyway, after the election, I totally soaked up that experience. You know, uh, seeing my name on the ballot, seeing my name in the runoff on the news. Seeing my picture on the news. Listed with other candidates and everything. I really took all of that in. I honed it in. And during this time, I still had to work. I still had a full-time job and things of that nature, man. You know what I'm saying? So actually, when I seen the final results of the 2019 mayoral election, I was actually at work, about to start work. It was probably about five, about 5 in the morning. I was at work. I was getting ready to, you know, I was already at the workplace, about to start work. And one of my coworkers at the time, came to me. He knew I was running for mayor. He had came to me, man, and he actually told me the results in a slick way. He didn't tell me the full results, but he was just like, he came to me and said, hmm. He said 1% of all the votes, man. That's not bad. That's pretty good. For your first run. And I'm like, yeah, you know. Now I followed it the night before, but like I say, at some point, I know I had to work early in the morning, so I laid down and went to sleep and stopped following the election. I guess they were still counting up votes or whatnot, and so it wasn't until the next morning when I got the news of the final numbers of the election. And after my coworker stepped to me and told me that, I looked it up on my own and looked at the results. And, even though I only had 1% of, the votes, that, I mean, it doesn't sound like a great accomplishment. But I'm telling you, you know, for your first time running and to be like, you know, like to have a felony in your past. I'm gonna put it like that. It's a big deal. To come from where I come from, and to represent who I represent, who is the streets of Nashville. That's who I represent, and that's where I come from. Nobody has ever done that before. You know what I'm saying? And so when I looked at this 1% that morning, and you can look at it a few different ways. To say 1% getting 1% of the votes, okay, that's one thing. But when you look up the numbers, they have the list of 10 candidates, and so they list they kind of rank the candidates with the amount of votes they were able to get. You know what I'm saying? And so, but anyway, just to see my name up, like right up under the four candidates with all the money and who got all the coverage. You know what I'm saying? To see my name like number one, right up under theirs. It was a big deal. It was a big deal, man. It was a big deal because uh, I knew the message that God sent me to give was heard, and I knew it was heard by some people that I encountered during some of those community debates and things of that nature, you know. Um, but when I seen that, I seen the first four, then right after the fourth one, I see my name, and then you had the rest of the candidates under mine. You know, any candidate that wasn't one of those four candidates who had all the money, who was getting all the coverage, uh, it was almost like we were in a category of our own. Because some of those debates on that was televised and things of that nature, like really all of them that was televised, we didn't get invited to those. We didn't get invited to those candidates. We didn't start getting invited to candidate. We didn't get invited to those debates. We didn't get invited to those debates, those televised debates. We started getting, you know, invited to, some of the later debates that was not televised, which was cool. Those are important too, but at the same time, it was like we was in our own section, and you know, to look at it as okay, I came out on top, uh, with I guess when it came to all the other candidates that didn't have all the money and that didn't get all the coverage and everything. That was a big deal to me, you know. And just to be honest, I mean, I cried after that. I cried after seeing that, man. You know what I'm saying? And it was, and to say I cried is like an understatement. I would just really put it in terms of, the spirit, man. You know, I felt that Holy Spirit, start touching on me and hugging on me. You see what I'm saying? I felt God, giving that love to me, you know, and it was just, it felt like a covering of encouragement. You know how a parent can encourage their child when they do something good, do something that they're proud of. Like that was the best way I could define that moment. Um, After I looked up the numbers of the 2019 Nashville Davidson County mayoral campaign. So with that being said, sometime after that, man, I was just beat. I was tired. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, while I was running for mayor of Nashville, Tennessee, I was actually going through a divorce. You know what I'm saying? And you know, my wife and I we were separated at the time, and we had been separated for a while. And she took my kids and everything, out the house, and took them with her over her mama house and things of that nature. And I'm only saying that because, a shift like that could really bother a man. It could really distract a man. It could really, destroy a man. And I noticed what the enemy did it for, to try to distract me and to try to destroy me, things of that nature. Uh, but with the strength of God, man, God's grace over me, man, it was just like, uh, I didn't feel it. I was still ambitious. I still went after everything that God told me to go after. And so it wasn't until after the campaign, the mayoral election of Nashville, Tennessee in 2019. It wasn't until after that where I started feeling some fatigue. Just like wore out. Because before the mayoral campaign in 2019, like I had done a lot of work in the community, man, with these uh, children, with, just groups of children, man, whether it was at community centers, uh, summer camp, summer enrichment with Metro Parks. I've put on, gardens, like community gardens, and, you know, for the youth, during summer camps and stuff like that. It was just a lot that I've done on my own, using my own money with my own efforts and things of that nature. And so right after the election, man, I just started to feel some fatigue. I was wore out. I was tired, and then I just made the decision that I wasn't going to keep pressing my program, my community program with the youth, until I could, get the type of funding, revenue coming in to kind of to fund the efforts, man. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, you know, on top of that, uh, my personal life, I just had to, as a divorced man or a man that was divorcing at that time, I knew that there was going to be some changes in my life. I knew that I had to, kind of uh, just restructure my new life with whatever that was going to look like. I know I wasn't going to stay in the home that I raised my children in, that me and my wife owned together. I wasn't going to do that. So my only other option was to pretty much, uh, just get another place, go, go elsewhere, and establish myself, you know, and that's just what I did, you know, and so it took a few years for me to get reestablished, you know, and not even a few. I would just really say a couple, a couple years. Well, it's a few. It's a few. It's been about three. It's been about 3.5 years. So, it took a few years. Anyway, with that being said, uh, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back in rare form. I'm back. I'm back. You know what I mean? I gotta let the voice be heard, man. The voice is what strengthens you. The voice is what strengthens you. All right. So for all the doubters, man, for all the doubters and the haters, man, you know what I'm saying? I ain't fell off. I ain't lost nothing. You understand what I'm saying? If anything, I've gained. If anything, I've gained. You understand what I'm saying? But so that's how uh I got the name mayor. All right. Because, whether I won mayor or not, you know what I'm saying? I'm the mayor of Nashville. And so as we know it, there's a mayoral campaign election going on right now in Nashville, Davidson County. Fast forward, it's 2023, and my ducks wasn't in a row by the time this election came up. So I find myself not on the ballot this year. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying this year because I don't know what God has in store for me beyond this point. I don't. And but I do know this is that when I ran for mayor and I was,